For his design, Mikoyan received the State Prize, the highest government award given for significant technological achievements. Several versions of the MiG-9 were created. In 1946, the MiG-9 UT, a two-seat trainer, was built. One of the first Soviet ejection seats, designed by the Mikoyan Bureau, was tested using this plane. A year later, the seat became standard on the MiG-9M. This fighter, with its two enhanced performance turbojets, could exceed 600 miles per hour. Another MiG-9 became a flying lab for testing a guidance system later used on the KS-1, the first Soviet winged missile. Meanwhile, the Bureau continued a series of experiments with a swept-wing design, which drastically reduced drag at transonic speeds. The MiG-15 fighter was the first plane to combine the swept wing and the jet engine. Problems in the hydraulic control system caused landing gear troubles, which plagued test flights in 1947. The problems were solved, and by the end of the year, the fighter was put into production. It became one of the world's most famous combat aircraft, in service in the Soviet Union and other countries of the Eastern Bloc for a decade. The MiG-15s were originally powered by the Neen turbojet engines, licensed from Rolls-Royce, manufactured in Russia. They were later replaced by the Soviet Klimov RD-45s. This fighter flew at a maximum speed of more than 650 miles per hour and had a service ceiling of nearly 50,000 feet. It was equipped with a pressurized cabin and an ejection seat. The MiG-15 had the largest production run among Soviet planes of the 50s and was widely exported. China received hundreds of these fighters as part of an extensive Soviet military aid program. Both Chinese and Russian pilots flew MiG-15s in Korean War combat, where they confronted the F-86 Sabre, the best American fighter of the early 1950s. The MiG was superior in its climb rate and firepower, while the heavier, slower Sabre enjoyed the advantage of radar. Each side exaggerated its kill rates, yet both sides acknowledged that the MiG and the Sabre were worthy opponents. The tactical advantage of radar was made obvious in Korea. Mikoyan was commissioned by the Air Force to create a radar-equipped version of the MiG-15. During 1949-50, a succession of these planes with a variety of radars and performance-enhanced engines was built and tested under the common MiG-15 BIS designation. To increase the MiG-15's range, designers equipped a version with a refueling probe, allowing the fighter to receive additional fuel in the air from Tupolev Tu-4 tankers. As another range-increasing attempt, the MiG was fitted with external fuel tanks mounted on the wing. Due to the MiG-15's widespread use, the Air Force needed a trainer version of the aircraft. In 1949, the twin-seat MiG-15 UT was created. It was also used for testing the SK rescue system, which protected a pilot ejecting at high speeds by using the cockpit canopy. Simultaneously with the improvements of the MiG-15, the Mikoyan Bureau built the I-320, a two-seat, heavy, all-weather interceptor equipped with radar. This plane, with two vertically stacked engines, was successfully tested, but a faster aircraft, the Yakovlev Yak-25 was chosen for manufacture. In the late 1940s, aviators considered speed the most critical element in air combat, and designers' primary objectives were to create a plane that could break the sound barrier. In 1949, Mikoyan's developed a new fighter based on the MiG-15. It was put into production as the MiG-17. Its wing, thinner than that of its predecessor, also had a 10-degree greater sweepback. This configuration, combined with the powerful Klimov VK-1 turbojet, produced higher speed. The new MiG almost reached the sound barrier in horizontal flight. The MiG-17 was fitted with external fuel tanks mounted under the wing. Traditionally, Mikoyan used heavy cannon armament on his jets. The 17 received 3 cannons, one 37mm and two 20mm, located under the air intake. This easily maintainable and unpretentious fighter was exported to the Eastern Bloc and Third World countries. It performed particularly well during the Middle East conflict of 1956, demonstrating a superiority in speed and firepower over the French Dassault Mystère 4 fighters. After the new Klimov VK-1F afterburning turbojet was installed on the MiG, the plane became even faster than its prototype. Meanwhile, the Bureau made its first winged missile, the KS-1. The missile's airframe was a smaller version of the MiG-17s. The mass-produced KS-1, armed with a nuclear warhead and controlled by an automatic guidance system, became standard armament for the Tupolev Tu-16 carrier and a prototype for an entire family of winged and cruise missiles designed by Mikoyan's Bureau. In the early 1950s, the Bureau began to develop a supersonic fighter. Its first attempt, the M-craft, powered by a single Yulka Al-7 engine, was far from perfect. Only the extraordinary flying skills of test pilot Grigory Sedov saved the plane from crashing when its engine died at a height of 3,000 feet above the ground. Shortly afterwards, the fighter acquired a new aerodynamic shape and was equipped with 2 Mikulin RD-9B afterburning turbojets. The modified plane first flew in May of 1952 and was put into production in 1954 as the MiG-19. With its 55-degree wing sweepback angle, the plane easily mastered supersonic speeds exceeding 600 miles per hour. This speed required new principles of flight control. Elevators, no longer effective, were replaced with all-moving tailplanes. The entire control system was redesigned to facilitate the pilot's job. In 1955, the advanced radar-equipped MiG-19P interceptor replaced the original radar-less version. This craft had 2 cannons, one less than its prototype, but carried radically new air-to-air weapons. It was the first missile-armed MiG. An air defense interceptor has only minutes to take off and climb to altitudes of 50 to 60,000 feet to reach and destroy its target. Mikoyan's Bureau tried to minimize the interceptor's reaction time with several experimental models based on the MiG-19. One of them, the SM-30, tested by Grigory Shianov in 1956, did not require a takeoff run. Within seconds, this plane with its solid fuel rocket booster could take off from a mobile platform. A liquid propellant rocket booster was used on the SM-50, which could reach a 65,000 feet altitude in 8 minutes.